Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by the cast, the crew of the absolutely amazing Mutilator 2. So excited to have you guys here. Right now, I kind of feel like the Brady Bunch, the way we're all boxed in. So I'm going to go right down the line here a little bit. I'm going to start with you first. I got Carl Grasso. So amazing to have you here. You were Henry in the film. Carl, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I love the shirt, man. That is an
Yeah,
awesome shirt.
I love your shirt. This is the cast shirt from the actual movie, I believe.
That is awesome. I've been
I believe
admiring it
so.
this whole time.
Ah, I like your shirt too.
Oh, I got to return some videotapes. You know
Yeah,
how that goes.
exactly. Back a second.
We also have the absolutely amazing Lauren Champagne, whose name I didn't even have to ask. I guessed it right the first time. She plays Marilyn. Lauren, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. This is so incredible. Lauren helped to set this all up. She's the one that got in contact with me, and we've been working back and forth to make this happen. So it's nice to finally meet you in person and tell you thank you for doing this. You're doing an amazing job with what you're doing too.
Of course. Thank you.
And then we have the always amazing, the writer, worked his butt off, Buddy Cooper. Buddy, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Hey, even in the background, is that a poster or is that like a
Oh yeah,
um
that's the poster for the movie.
that's so awesome. It looks great. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Um, and then got to talk about, is it Traver?
Who?
Yeah, I think Draper. Yeah,
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm saying it right because
yeah, you're
there
saying
was
it
one
right.
time there was one time in the 90s I was wrong, Eric, so it could happen again. We got the amazing
You're
Eric
okay.
Six, Traver. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Oh man, this is super, super awesome. And then together they said, you know what? We could do this separately, but since we do props, property management, and play ourselves, let's just do this together. I got the amazing Bill Hitchcock and Ruth Martinez. How are you guys doing today?
We're good.
Doing very well, thank you.
It's amazing to have you both. And I know what I love about this is having you guys, like I said, you play yourselves in the film, obviously, and then a lot of the stuff behind the scenes with props and property management that doesn't get enough respect or enough talk about in the mainstream. You guys are kind of the linemen to the quarterback. So without you, they're taking a sack. So I want to say thank you for the undercover and behind the scene things that you guys do as well.
Certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, so do we, 100%. So we are going to be talking about Mutilator 2 today, guys. And I will tell you, we are not going to be spoiling anything because I don't think you should go into this movie spoiled. I think you should go into it unspoiled. And the best way to do that is by clicking the links down in the description. I have the movie available right now, so make sure you guys are checking it out. Let us know what you think about the film. But let's start with you first, buddy. What was your inspiration for writing Mutilator 2?
Mutilator one. uh, you mean I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but I hired a young woman screenwriter in L.A. to write the screenplay. I was busy, and I kind of liked what she was doing, but she was taking it in the wrong direction. So I took it back from her. She gets a credit a writing credit there, and she did one thing that I really liked, and that is she had a shoot going on, and someone had a phone on the set, and the phone rang and disturbed the shot and called it stop. And I like that. And I said, I believe we can use that, but what are we going to be shooting? I said, wait a minute, what if we're shooting a remake of The Mutilator, which was important because I wanted to get Bill and Ruth in, but I couldn't figure a way to do it. So now it all sort of came together. If we're shooting a remake, Bill and Ruth are in it, the phone disturbs it, and the ball starts rolling.
Mhm.
Just as an aside, a bit of an Easter egg, Trevor, Eric's character Trevor, got his name from Eric is the set photographer of Mutilator 2. The set photographer in The Mutilator was actually named Trevor, so I just borrowed his name and gave it to this character.
That's awesome. And I love those meta behind the scene references. I think that that's super awesome for you to take it in that direction too. We have Ruth, like I said, you had Pam, but Ruth coming back as herself in this, kind of taking this in this meta direction and Bill coming back as well. what was it like for you guys to get that phone call to, Mutilator 2 is coming back in a meta direction. We want to have you back. What did that feel like for you guys?
Well, for me, the first question was how? How are we coming back? I guess it's all right that I can talk about in Mutilator 1, I got killed. So I come back. So I'm scratching my head. And again, not spilling the beans, I think it's pretty brilliant how I'm brought back. She doesn't die in the first one, so I could understand that. But, so I thought it was quite brilliant how Buddy brought us back.
I love when you hear stuff like that. You hear Wes Craven's New Nightmare's coming out and Nancy Thompson's coming back. Well, how? Heather Langenkamp died in the third one. And then you hear this one, Bill's coming back. It's like, how in the hell are they going to do this? So I'm very excited to see it. And like I said, I have the worst diarrhea of the mouth, guys. That's why I haven't watched it yet. I'm ready to watch it tonight. So, Lauren, how did you get involved with the project?
So actually, Anne Hale and Jeff Seaman, they are both producers on the film. They kind of took me in. And I say this every time. I have such a small part in the movie. My part has been more of after the fact, but that's kind of how it all started, was because of Anne and Jeff, and obviously, of course, Buddy Cooper for letting me be on. So
Well, I've heard nothing but the most positive things about you, buddy. Everybody's talked about, how democratic you are and how open you are. And obviously, you're working with people in 1984. You're still borrowing their name and using it in your films today as kind of a homage to them. So, Eric, what's it feel like for you to be a part of the Mutilator franchise now?
It was amazing. It was my first feature film, first time flying out for a big budget movie and things, and I was so nervous on the flight. I'm like sitting here, this is an iconic movie, like you got to do good, like just, but I drove to set and everybody was so nice and just welcoming and it felt like a family. I felt like I was at summer camp. So it was an amazing experience and it's really opened up my career as an actor being part of the Mutilator franchise.
See, and it's special because you have movies that will get sequels and you'll automatically have people groaning. That doesn't happen in horror. The minute we find out we're getting more horror of the things that we love, we are celebrating, we are anticipating, and we are excited because we know that, especially, Buddy's not going to do Mutilator and then come out and be like, well, let's just tear everything I did down and make it worse for the second one. They do it. It's not about making money. It's about making the best project you can and getting the best people involved you can to get your love and your dreams out there for the world. So, a little bit non-spoiler here, Carl. Can you tell me a little bit about your character?
Well, like Buddy said, we're making a remake in the sequel, and I play the hero of the movie who tries to get the movie done and completed and on budget. I'm also a very evil human being who wants to have sex with every cast member and crew member on the set. So,
Well, I mean, we've all been there, I mean, like,
of course,
I mean,
yes.
yeah, for sure. Totally joking, everybody. I've been married happily for 20 years. I'm not a Weinstein, promise. That's disgusting.
Sure.
So yeah,
what I
yeah,
heard.
my cover's blown.
That's right.
But it is unfortunate that those type of things happen, and for you to put that into a meta environment again. Horror since the beginning of time has been about making people uncomfortable. So that's what makes horror horror, and that's why horror is so socially relevant because it takes things that are happening in real life, puts it on the screen, and makes you uncomfortable. And I think that's brilliant. So obviously, being a part of Mutilator and Mutilator 2, buddy, what was the differences that this is the different besides the meta aspect of it between Mutilator and Mutilator 2, the filming process for you?
Well, the technology has advanced a lot since the first one. I mean, it used to have a big camera, take two people to pick it up, change the reels, shooting with film, a lot of big, heavy lights, a lot of cables. And it's not like that anymore. It's a small camera, easily moved. Lights, you don't have to gel them. You can adjust the color with a knob. That made the shoot easier for the crew. Just less physical work. And before we had to send our her dailies off to a lab in Atlanta, I think. It was a day or two before we got them back, and I had a friend at the local theater who would run them for us, and we'd get over there and watch them. And not anymore now. They put a monitor up right in front of you. While they're shooting, I'm watching it live, which is a big help, a big plus. You could, if something's rough, it's a word missing, you can stop and do it right then instead of 2 or 3 days later, in which usually if it's something 2 or 3 days later, you just live with it and let it go. Distribution is very different as well. In the old days, you'd put a negative in the labs. If the distributor needed something, you give him a letter of access, he'd go take care of it. Not anymore. You have to have 2 or 3 different versions on different formats and all sorts of stuff that goes with it. It took several months this spring just meeting the demands or the needs of the distributor, but we finally got it done, and we're working on the distributor who has Mutilator 2 has just picked up Mutilator 1. Arrow Video's license expired. Yeah, and we agreed that it would be a nice double header, so he's pitching that around, and the streaming platforms have been asking him anyhow, so it's welcome there. And one of the things we needed was a trailer, and I've had, as I mentioned, computer problems, and I've lost everything. Had 2 computer failures, 2 hard drive failures. Everything I had is gone. But Bill is tech savvy, and he downloaded a trailer for me. We're not going to say where it came from, since I have the rights to it. It doesn't really matter. But he downloaded. That was an excellent image on that, Bill. By the way, good work. Thank you very much. So it's been difficult meeting the demands of the distributor, but the shooting of the thing with the people, everybody was friendly, getting along. There were no squabbles. It was just a pleasant atmosphere, and I was glad to be part of it.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing, like you said, how back then, if you would have lost a reel, you have to shoot everything over again. Yeah. Your hard drive crashes, and by the grace of God, you're able to save some things. And like that to me is how the advancement in technology can be super beneficial, especially for filmmakers. If you lose a reel back in the day, that's it. That's sorry guys, we got to shoot that again. But these advancements in technology really are huge. And Ruth, haven't really got to talk to you much yet, but obviously, like I said, you're a hero in part 1. You are our girl in part 1, and you're coming back. You get that phone call, I want you back for Mutilator 2. How fast did you say yes when you got that phone call?
I had to do it. I mean, for me, I was 19 when we did Mutilator 1. So, and I was in college. So it was like college reunion, It's so fun going back to that place. It has such warm memories for me. So it was really, really fun and exciting to be back there.
It feels like much longer than 5 years ago they did Mutilator. How did that happen?
Hazeluna, you look pretty.
Yeah, I've aged a bit.
No, but seriously, it's amazing to have you back, because a lot of times people will do their their horror when they're younger, and then they get older, and for some reason they poo-poo at it, and like, oh, that's back then, that's not who I am now. So seeing you be so willing to come back in a meta reference like that, I think that's really special. And to have you and Bill come back and do this together, at when the takeoff of the Mutilator, did you ever anticipate any type of sequel at all, Ruth?
No, I mean, back in the day, it was a different time. That things would play in the movie theaters, and it was even when we shot it, it was even before video, really.
Yeah.
And so once it came out on video, that was a surprise. And I was a high school teacher for many years, and I had some of my students say, and this was probably about, I don't know, 2010, 2012, did you do a movie? And I'm like, whoa, how did you know about that? Well, that's when YouTube came out, and there were fans that were doing videos about where we shot. And we came back and did the Blu-ray release, and it just took off again after that. So the fact that it's still popular all these years later is a total shock.
Right.
But it's exciting. It's really exciting.
I can just imagine that. Mrs. Martinez, were you in the Mutilator? Like I said, the sum of 7.
How do you know about this?
Look,
I
I got
think
to
that's
interject something. I really thought that the Mutilator was going to be like the Rocky Horror Picture Show in terms of audience participation. You know, when at the
mhm.
Rocky Horror Picture Show, people had umbrellas and would throw things at the screen and don't open the door, kind of thing. And I thought that's what was going to happen with the Mutilator. Maybe it did. I don't know.
Right.
It does at my
And
house
it's
every time I watch it.
yeah,
Let me tell you about Ruth in the Mutilator when she came on, being 19 and in college. She was taking her final exams when we started shooting. People were saying, "Where's Martina?" I said, "She's taking an exam." A couple of people got rubbed the wrong way, saying, "We're not. She's getting special treatment." I said, "You just shoot. She'll be here. Don't worry about it."
yeah. I
Thank
don't
you,
think.
buddy.
Yeah. How about this, guys? Instead of shooting, you go and do homework. Yeah. Tell me that special treatment there, buddy. You know, not literally buddy, but you know what I mean. Um,
Yeah.
so Lauren, like I said, you've done a lot of marketing for the film. You played Marilyn in the film. What was it like for you to get the call from Ann and them saying, yes, you're going to be a part of the Mutilator?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I had seen the first one, and so I knew what it meant to me to be even a small part of it. So very appreciative. And I mean, again, I think we've all kind of already said this, but everyone got along. It was such a fun atmosphere. And for me, it was the first like set I had actually been on. So just kind of watching everybody's different roles and just how everyone interacted, and it was really special for sure.
That's incredible. I love that. I love that. And you know, that kind of bleeds into Eric. You know, you're talking about this was the first feature-length film that you were a part of. And how did you get into character and what did you do to get ready on set?
Honestly, he was such a well-rounded character. I just brought kind of myself to him, a lot of heart and things. And it was easy to do that because, like I said, it was like you're immersed in family because we were all in the same makeup room. We were always allowed on set when people were filming. So it was an easy way just to ease into a character. And I felt safe with Buddy. He had great direction. And it was just it's a great collaboration as an actor to feel safe and just be able to play. And that's what I did. And it was a lot of fun.
Sure. And I think that that really makes it, especially in indie horror, everybody wears different hats. You know, just because you're an actor in one scene doesn't mean you can't be a key grip in another, you know,
You need to
because
talk
it's
to
all a
Bill
passion
Hitchcock about
project.
that.
Well,
Bill was the prop guy.
see, and I know, you know, Bill did props, property managing, Ruth did props. I think, again, I think that's why horror is so important. You're not going to get that on the Avengers Endgame. You know, they're not going to go. You're not going to have Chris Hemsworth going and holding a boom for a scene. Like that's not gonna happen. You know, and I think that's why indie horror is such a tight-knit family because we're all willing to do whatever we can to make sure we put out the best project available. You know, you need me to do this. You need me to help in wardrobe. You need me to help in the art department. Oh, practical blood? Yes, let me get my hands literally dirty. And I think it's special. So, Carl, when we're talking about the experiences out of set, if someone comes up to you and says, "What can I expect from your character out of the Mutilator 2?" What is the big thing that separates your character from everybody else? What would your answer be?
You'll remember me, and you're gonna laugh. Uh, you're gonna laugh every time I come on the screen. And this is not just me saying it. Someone, literally, a gentleman gang, walked up to me the last screening we were at, which was
Look,
Scaricon
I'm
in
laughing
Syracuse, New
now.
York. See, look, Bill's laughing, and he literally said that he had to be quiet because he was laughing so hard inside that he was shaking when I came on the screen. So that's a very big check mark compliment to myself. So you're gonna have a fun time with this film. There's a lot of laughs and a lot of scares and a lot of blood, and it's like a seatbelt roller coaster type of thing, and you're gonna have a great time.
That's awesome. I love that explanation too, because we love the roller coaster. Because I've always felt like the big thing we do at Sledgehammer Horror is my first horror movie. We talk to people about the first horror movie they watched and what it meant to them. And I think that when you're talking about something like that, you get that high from watching your first horror movie, and then you're constantly chasing that dragon. You're trying to get that feeling again. And so when you talk about even the roller coaster ride of a film, it's the same way. You know, you're getting that one big scare or that one big laugh, and you're wanting to top it with the next scene. You're wanting to go harder with the next scene, let alone the next movie. So I've had an amazing time talking to you guys about the Mutilator 2 and what people can expect out of it. But before I let you all go, I have a question for all of you. And I'm going to go down the line. So some of you here get to be a cheater, pumpkin eater, because usually I only ask this when I do an interview with one person. But now some of you are going to get to think about it while the other ones have to answer right off the seat of their pants. And I'm going to go in reverse order this time. So I'm going to start with you this time, Carl. My little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Carl? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
It's like, and I was just talking about this the other day. I'm like, well, what movie still kind of scares me, still kind of irks me, still kind of makes me like get, kind of that feeling? Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And the reason why is on Tubi, if you really, really are bored and you want to like just attempt, go watch Stephen King's attempt at doing the television movie in 1997 with Steven Weber and Rebecca De Mornay. And it's like, you can't get past the first minute. It is like so different, not scary. And I hate picking on book versus movie, but his
Sure.
book is completely different than the movie. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. One's more personal story to Mr. King, but one's more an atmospheric, scary, like immersive environment. And I always said to myself, like, what would I do if I was trapped in the Overlook Hotel? And I mean, that's just scary to me. I'd bring Lauren, of course. Lauren and I would somehow run around the Overlook Hotel, and we'd survive. But
We do ghost hunting and stuff.
we,
It's
yeah, we go hunt. We go get ice cream or something. But I would say, yeah, it's got to be The Shining for me.
When you talk about the made-for-TV one, there's just something not as intimidating about Jack chasing you with a croquet mallet as there is
Yeah.
of him chasing you with an axe.
Yeah, it's not scary. I mean, it is scary because it's Colorado croquet mallet, which supposedly the mallet's bigger. I mean, aren't you scared? It's a bigger
Yeah.
mallet. Unless
Sure.
like a fire axe coming through a door.
Yeah,
Compare
let's
it.
go with that.
The
Let's
fire axe.
stick with that.
Yeah.
So what about you, Eric? What's your favorite horror movie of all time?
Would be wrong not to say Mutilator too. See, I've watched these interviews, but he was always
Yeah.
waiting.
If you've got
But,
your eyes on Mutilator 3, you know what to say.
Yeah, I say, yeah. If you want to return, just ask Bill and Ruth. It's possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but my favorite horror film is actually, and I watched it all the time as a kid, was actually Scream from 1996. It just the perfect mesh of horror and comedy, and the casting was amazing. And I honestly based my own career off of that because they all got their start in Scream. So I'm a huge horror fan, and that's where I like to stay, and I love working in them. So yeah, Scream's my favorite.
It's again, whether you loved or you hated Scream, it changed the genre forever. Without Scream and that meta approach, a lot of the things, I mean, Mutilator 2 takes a little bit of a Scream, meta approach to it, which I think is just brilliant in the way that you guys did it. So, what about you, Lauren? What's your favorite horror movie?
Well, I was gonna say The Shining, and then I was gonna say Scream. But I will pick a different one. I'll say It Follows. That's one
Great
for me.
pick.
I am not as much into the gore just for gore. I like a slow burn. I like a story. I like something that's really creepy, which is why I love The Shining. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really well done. Aesthetically, it looks really great. The acting's really amazing, and the story is very unique. So
A lot of that was filmed 20 minutes that way.
yeah, that's right.
I love that movie. The big guy coming through the door is one of the best scares of all time.
Yes.
That opening kill with the leg, like it's just what a phenomenal movie. Such a huge fan of that film. I'm glad you said that. How about you, Ruth? What's your favorite horror movie?
Well, I had started with The Shining and then I was going to Scream. And I thought of another one, but you know what? Now I'm headed towards Jaws
Yeah.
because I just remember jumping out of my seat a couple of times during that one. And I love the fact I'm not big into gore. I loved how because the shark wouldn't work correctly, they were able to just build the suspense
Yep.
in a completely different way. So I thought it was brilliant.
Less is more with that film. And something I recently found out, I don't want to go on a long-winded tangent, but they screened Jaws for the first time, and Spielberg was like, man, there's really something missing. He went to his swimming pool and they filmed the underwater scene with the shark tooth where the head comes out and the jump scare. that was added on afterwards in a pool in Hollywood. And like that's why Spielberg is Spielberg. One of the best jump scares of all time was an afterthought to him. Like, you know what, we're missing something. Let's add a severed head and a shark tooth. Let's just do it, you know? Like that to me is just so brilliant the way that Spielberg's able to do those type of things. So what about you, Bill? Your favorite horror movie?
Well, a couple that scared me the most, excuse me, I read the book, The Exorcist, in 2 days, and on the third day saw it in the movie theater. And I didn't sleep for a long time after that. I was the same age as Linda Blair.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I was a kid, what, 14, 15 years old. The other movie that scared the living crap out of me was The Entity. And I went to the movie theater
The
to see it,
Entity.
and I was the only person in the theater, and the entity is this unseen
That's so
entity
good.
that's going. Oh boy, it was no.
So
But
good.
outside of that, not a singular movie. I'm more of a Hitchcock uh, fan. That's that style genre of film, particularly if it's in black and white. I think
Mhm.
that's an added bonus for that type of thing. So those two movies scared, I mean, literally scared me. And then a Hitchcock type of movie, I'm a big fan of.
What I love about The Exorcist is the way that it's able to make you feel different things throughout periods of your life. As a kid, I'm watching this movie and I'm terrified, but I'm like, who cares? She's a demon. Burn the house down. Get out. You know, you save money on school supplies. Go do what you got to do. But now, as the father of a young girl, the scene that affects me the most is when they're laying in the bed and her nightgown pops up and it says, "Help me" on her stomach. And it's like, you know, my little girl is still in there, you know, like, and I can't help her. My one job on this planet, I'm not able to do. Like that rips me apart from the inside when I watch this film as a parent. And I didn't think about those things as a kid because much like you, Bill, I was Reagan's age when I watched this for the first time. So I'm looking at this through the eyes of a child and the innocence and not understanding how, you know, you would give everything to bring your little girl back. To me, it's like, ah, you can have another one. Who, you know, whatever. It's a movie. But you know, as an adult now, they definitely impact you a little bit more. So I love the answer of The Exorcist because it's the same thing. Pet Cemetery, you know, watch them from two different lenses as a child and as a parent. So, and last but absolutely not least, Buddy, what is your favorite horror movie?
Um, I'll tell you, my favorite horror movie is Alien, which I like a lot. In fact, I do a bit in Mutilator 2 solely for the purpose of showing my cap. Nobody's caught it yet, but I'm wearing a cap, a crew cap from the Nostromo, just as
Yes.
a literal tip of the hat to those guys. But the movies, that's not the one that scared me the most. Now, you got to remember, I'm older than these young people were here. When I was a child, my father had a 50% interest in a local drive-in theater, and he took one of my sisters and me to one night to see how things were going, and it was a double feature with Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr., and Dracula, Bela Lugosi, and I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I got scared. My sister would hold her lips so that none of her teeth would show except the points of her canine teeth, and that wasn't bad enough. I couldn't go to bed because I knew the Wolfman was in my closet. I couldn't go to sleep. And I tossed and turned for a long time. And then I finally remembered my dad was shooting home movies with 16 millimeter. And I knew that the Wolfman wasn't as big as he was on that drive-in theater screen. He was maybe this big. And
Yeah.
if he came out of my closet, I'd just step on him. And that's how I finally went to sleep that night. But that one, those two movies scared me more. But Alien is my favorite.
And I love how, because even today we still get a lot of love. We obviously just got a Wolfman remake, an Invisible Man remake. We had Renfield and the new Nosferatu. Like the Universal monsters are still getting the love. And you know, I grew up watching the Universal monsters as well. I remember my first like horror comedy was Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein.
One of my
You know,
favorites.
and I thought that movie was so funny as a kid. Like they barricade the door with the bed and then they pull the door open and walk over the bed. Like little things like that to me, like was so funny. And um, I think that you could still learn a lot from watching the old Universals and things like that. I think that they still have they're such a time capsule. And then you go to, you know, the more European style films with those type of Draculas and stuff like that, you know, that more gothic aesthetic of the Hammer films. And I love watching the Hammer films and the Universals and seeing how they inspired horror today. without them, you don't have Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger. That doesn't exist without the original Universals. So I think it's brilliant that they're still so important today to the genre. So I know I said this at the beginning, guys, but I do have the link to rent Mutilator 2 down in the description, as well as all of these beautiful people's social media links. So make sure you're following them on social media so that way you can stay up to date on all the amazing things that they're doing, not just now, but in the future as well. So, group of people that are awesome. Please don't go anywhere. I have a couple more questions for you guys. Everyone else, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Those links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.